need all the power that you can get. Of course, the Utes will be part of the Castrol-Townsville 500. This is only their third round of the year. We're already up to June, so they've had a quiet early part to the year. Then it gets really busy from here on in. So ready to go. Noel Edge, he's over his grid box. Andrew Fisher's a long way over his. They've been caught out because this year the front row is one row back from where it's been in previous years to let the drivers be able to see the starter's box a little easier. They just caught themselves out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So that could have been a bit of a messy start to the race, but luckily it looks like those guys are in the right positions, ready for the start of this race.
Just had a little bit of an update from down on the track. Andrew Nichols, one of the rookies, has probably wisely decided to start from pit lane just to get away from the mayhem. Will be on board with Jeremy Gray, and he is right up, actually up towards the front, position 7. He's a long-time Ute racer. So it's Andrew Fisher, Jesus Ford on pole. He was 14th yesterday. Grid's been reversed, and the race 1 winner, David Cedars, he is the man who draws the ball out of the barrel to figure out how many cars will be inverted. So remember that there's a chance here to score some good points, but this is where there's lots of drama. Chris Walton is generally a charger. He generally makes up a lot of ground. We saw a quick shot there of Adam Marjoram, the Auto 1 Commodore, finished 10th yesterday from 23rd on the grid. Let's see how they go. Long straight down to turn 1. Away we go. Race 2 of the V8 Utes. Andrew Fisher gets the jump. Look for Kim Jane. The Bob Jane Team Arts Commodore is already moving on through. He'll lead before they get to the braking zone.
Great start by Kim Jane. Obviously hugely experienced in this category, and you're quite right there. He has led the field into turn 1, and this is where there's always plenty of action.
Oh, we were right. Adam Marjoram just got in the back of Craig Donis, but he got a chance to pick it all up. That's Aaron Borg on debut this weekend. He looks like he belongs in the Ute Series. He's not afraid to use the bumpers. Look at this. That was David Cedars out wide. That's John Wood out wide. And that's the part of the track where he ended up over on his lid last year. They've changed the wall. Look at Noel Edge, that green number 2 car. He's being muscled out of the way by these fast guys who know that they need to get on with it now. He's not generally running at this end of the field, and they're boxing his ears in.
And into the hairpin, the valley for the first time. Obviously, a trouble spot on this circuit, especially on a first lap, but Noel Edge, he is drifting back through the pack. He'll be disappointed with this opening lap, but look at these guys fighting for position. As the tyres come up for temperature, this is usually the best time to pass.
Up the inside here, you can't go too wide through there. Ryan Hansford knows it, so he's stuck out wide. Jeremy Gray knows it too, but he didn't quite stick the nose in. Kim Jane leads the way, end of lap 1. And this is what we get in the Utes. It's this mixture when we reverse the field. The guys who were 14th and 15th in the race yesterday, that's their pace. That's where they really are running. So when you put them to the front of the field, you really jumble it up, and you've got to have your wits about you on picking your way through. Grant Johnson's gone around, the former champion, former Hidden Valley winner, in fact, has had a spin down at the final turn, so he must go and start to work his way through from P30.
I'm sure if we do get a replay of that incident, wouldn't be surprised if he got a bit of help going around there coming onto the straight. But David Cedars up 2 positions from the start of the race, and more importantly, he's in front of Chris Walton.
And they are fighting for the Drivers' Championship in the V8 Utes. Jeremy Gray here. Noel Edge being very smart here because he's really giving them some room. I'm not sure that they'll give him it back, but he knows that he's not as fast as these guys, so it's no point trying to hold them up or do anything really silly, because generally you end up off the road because they lose their patience with you.
Yeah, that's right. So Noel doing the right thing here, knows he probably doesn't have the outright speed to stay at the front of the field, and only just getting enough racing room on the exit of turn 7 there from Jerry Gray. Replay of the start. Kim Jane got it absolutely perfect, no wheel spin at all, and was able to slingshot that Bob Jane Team Arts Commodore to the front of the field.
This is what it looked like from on board with Adam Marjoram. Look at Kim Jane, that's a ripper start. Jesse Dixon in the blue and white. Heyman Reese Commodore got rolling pretty well, and he picked up some ground. And then Marjoram's got a dilemma here. Borg's running a little slower off the start, so he goes, I'll go the long way. But this is where he just rubs Craig Dontis. They managed to get away with it, though, and cover it off at turn 1. Jeremy Gray on board the Yokohama replay. There's Craig Dontis, who we were just on board with in the green Thirsty Camel Commodore. And that there is Ryle Harris, the reigning champion, slipping down the outside. He's won the last 2 years here in Darwin. This will give us the Grant Johnson story.
Yeah, it looked like maybe Chris Walton into the back of Johnson there. So hopefully, for Walton's championship's sake, that he doesn't get a penalty out of that.
Hard to tell if there was contact there or not, or Grant did it himself. It was all a little bit unclear, but nevertheless, I'm sure it will be looked into. This is further back in the pack. Jared McLeod having a big lunge up the inside of Ben Dunn. That's Wayne Wakefield in the black Falcon that started at the rear of the grid. That's Michael Armand in the yellow car, who normally drives in Porsche Carrera Cup. He's done a couple of starts in the V8 Utes, and welcome back. Look at this, it's still going on. Manages to hang on to it, but that car launched in the air. Wouldn't be surprised. Front right looks like it's either going down or it's damaged the steering. So
yeah, absolutely nudes.
He's got big dramas. Michael's been racing previously in Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge and stepped up this year to the Carrera Cup, which we'll see back in action at Townsville in a fortnight's time. But Kim Jane leads the way. Guy who's done it all here. He's won here, he's crashed here, he's rolled here as well. Look at this. Ryan Hansford lunging out of Marjoram. He made it around the corner too. That was pretty impressive.
Had the rear brakes locked on the absolute maximum of braking there, so good move from Hansford. Only just pulled it off, but he moves up another spot.
Back on board, the Extreme Performance Clutches in-car with the young West Aussie. Did a function without him the other night, and a couple of the V8 Ute guys, Chris Walton and Kim Jane as well. All the fans were asking, hang on, you're too young to drive. He looks about 12. He actually is old enough to get out there. Here's the replay for Yokohama of what went on. So Ben Dunn's wide. He gets a little bit of a rub off the road. Armand tries to take advantage. There's a bump. There's another bump. And the right front launches in the air, and I wouldn't mind betting it's punctured the tyre or damaged the steering, which you seem to know about from yesterday too.
Just a bit of a case of 3 into 2 doesn't really fit their noon, so not really anybody's fault. Just one of those racing incidents. Unfortunate for Armand because he's in the pits replacing that right front tyre.
Remember, in the Utes they run a grooved Yokohama tyre, and they're on the trolley jack and the wheel nuts. It's a little bit different. It's production-based car racing, the V8 Utes. Of course, they've got a range of safety modifications, some performance ones, some control parts, but Kim Jane out in front has not won a race since last year. Hasn't had a win this year, but he's looking all right at the moment. Fisher second, then Dixon. Ryle Harris having a nice run. This is Elliot Barber, Just Car Insurance Commodore, down the inside of Noel Edge. So Noel's gone back to where he came from. He's 14th because that's about where he was running at the end of yesterday's race.
Yeah, and Elliot Barber, good move there into turn 1. That's the most typical passing opportunity at Darwin's Hidden Valley Circuit. And Elliot unfortunately had some dramas in the first race, so he's having to fight his way back through the field from the back of the pack. But just up at the front here, we've got a bit of action with our reigning champion, Ryle Harris, and Jesse Dixon coming under a bit of pressure now. So these two battling for 3rd and 4th. Harris dropped a few points in the championship over the last couple of rounds, so he'll be looking for a good result.
Had a tough opening round on the streets of Adelaide, bounced back to a bit of form at Barbagallo this weekend. He qualified 12th. He missed the progression in Utes. They run the Formula 1 style 3-legged qualifying. You've got to get into the next one. Look at this for a move. Down the inside, catches Jesse Dixon napping and moves on through to 3rd spot. So he qualified 12th. He was 6th in race 1. He's 3rd in race 2. He's really starting to come on through.
Bit of experience there from Ryle Harris, and a bit of contact here at the hairpin. Kovacs getting a hit from Wood. So like we mentioned at the start of the race, Kovacs returning, and Wayne Wakefield goes around. So got a question mark on the side of the Ute there.
Probably a question mark as to how he ended up there as well.
Maybe Ben Dunn had something to do with it because he's off the side of the road. So possible damage there to Dunny's 99 Falcon.
No damage to this one, though. Kim Jane leads the way. Andrew Fisher next. There's Harris, Dixon, Dontis, Borg, Ryan Hansford, Marjoram, Gray, McNally. That's the top 10. Lots of action in the top end. We'll come back for the run home with V8 Utes. We're back in Darwin, V8 Utes, race 2. We haven't lost any more since we've been away. This is David Cedars, Chris Walton. They're fighting for the series. They're fighting for 11th and 12th spots. If you've just joined us, it's a reverse grid race. So the guys that ran 1-2 yesterday, Cedars and Walton, they were put back to the middle of the pack. They haven't really, James Moffat, been able to work their way up the order.
No, which is quite unusual for Chris Walton, to be honest. We've seen him in history, you know, he comes through the field like no tomorrow in these reverse grid races, but probably more importantly for him, he's managed to get in front of Cedars. So Those two are battling it out for the championship. It's very close at the top. So we've got a bit of a run on here with McNally up the inside of Gray into turn 1. Chris Walton behind him will be trying to follow him through. Will we see the Renko Falcon pop in? Yep, there it is.
Oh! I thought that was going to happen. Couldn't quite get the move done. You get the door open when someone goes on through at turn 1, and you've got to get in there and try to follow through, but it's pretty hard sometimes to hang on. That's Nathan Pretty, GoPro Commodore, trying to put a move on David Cedars. A little bit of a bump. But Cedars will hang on. He's got a couple of nice donuts in the side there from tyre marks from a few rivals. The right side's quite clean, but that goes to show you need a sponsor. You can't run a plain white car because it shows up the marks worse.
Speaking of sponsors, GoPro newly on the side of that Nathan Pretty Falcon.
Commodore.
Jeez. So
don't let that get back to him.
No.
He's a holder man through and through.
But yeah, that car looks obviously very good, and probably be getting some good GoPro footage out of it too, I reckon.
He's got plenty of action here with Cedars and Walton right up in front of him. Coming into the weekend, Walton led the series by 9 points over Cedars, who's been able to chip away. Remember, they get points for qualifying too in the Utes, not just for the races as well. So you need to be on your game for the entire weekend. This is a great shot to see how the field's looking on the run down to 1. Walton putting a move on Jeremy Gray. And this is not done. He's close. He's got actually a little bit further around the corner this time with his nose in front.
He'll get him now, so...
Oh, there's still a small overlap now. He's got it done. So Walton moves through into the top 10, position 10, but it's King Jane who's controlling this one. 1.2 seconds is the margin, and things have been a little more conservative in this race because everyone's got to look after the tyres, and if you're in the pack like this, you're not getting clear, clean air into your car. So the temperatures of everything, engine, brakes, tyres, going through the roof.
Oh, here we go. Gray a bit wide, so he might have got a bit of a shove from David Cedars, but manages to hold on to the position. But you're exactly right, Nunes. These guys do have to be thinking about race 3, looking after their rubber. A bit like us V8 supercar drivers this weekend with the minimal tyres that we have. But replay here of
Wayne Wakefield.
Like Wakefield in the action again.
A bit more action. Graham Stewart.
And unfortunately for Wayne, that's been a bit too common this weekend, hasn't it? He got excluded for being involved in too many incidents yesterday. And again, he's managed to turn somebody around. So,
oh, look at this. John Wood's been off the road. He's brought half of it back for the rest of them. That'll be a nice surprise when the leaders come around to the final corner. Yokohama replay.
No, managed to do it all on his own.
Dropped the wheel on the run in, and that's gone for a while.
Actually,
Elliot Barber got stuck there yesterday, but he's had enough speed when he's hit the gravel to just plough on through and get out the other side.
Yeah, lucky to keep going, to be honest there. Usually you go off at turn 10 and 11 here at Darwin and you end up in the sand. So fortunate for Wood that he was able to press on.
This is just outside the top 10. On board with Elliot Barber. He sits P14, Rookie of the Year in the Utes last year.
Got a move there by Cedars up the inside of Gray into turn 5. Just pitched the right front tyre. So he was on the absolute maximum of the braking. Pretty now having a look on Gray as well. And a bit of action here with Margeman and
look at Walton. He's trying to maximise the drive off that corner. Oh, look out. Look out. Someone's going off the road here. And look at Walton straight in. Gets on through. Picks up a spot, ever the opportunist.
So that puts him inside the top 10 noon. So these last few laps have been a good hustle for Walton in that Renko Falcon. He'll be looking for a good, clean exit onto the front straight here to have an opportunity to pass into turn 1 on the Auto 1 Commodore.
He's never won in Darwin before, Chris Walton. He's been a regular front runner and a good contender in the last year or two of the V8 Utes series, but he's proving he's almost taken a little bit of Ryle Harris's playbook. Ryle was a bit of a wild boy in Utes years ago, but then he calmed down and he won a couple of titles. Walton's been in scraps and dramas for a year or two, but not really this year. He's got a fast car and he's using it. Look at this. Bang. Straight through and out of Marjoram. That's for position 8. Oh, speaking of bang, Reece McNally, he's going to the servo. The fuel flaps caught open on the way through. But Walton's piecing together a really nice championship, and he's proving that you don't have to win piles of races to become the series champion. Marjoram giving Gray a helping hand, because the point spread between the positions, every position pretty much in the pack is worth a point. Up front, it's worth 2 or 3, but really there's not a big difference in points. So you drop off in one race, it takes you a long time to get that back.
Yeah, exactly right. And he's been qualifying well this year as well. As we mentioned, you know, you get points for qualifying, so that's important. But these guys have certainly turned it up the last couple of laps, and a little bit of rubbings racing, which is good to see in the Utes. But Walton, he'll be happy that he's got at least a car between him and Cedars, because if he keeps doing what he's doing, it won't quite be enough for him to be on pole for the last race, but there's still 2 laps to go, Noons.
Now, yesterday we made mention quite a few times of Craig Lowndes' 40th birthday. There's a guy sitting next to me who turned 30 very recently. You thought you got away with it, didn't you?
Oh, I thought I did, Noons. I owe you one now, that's for sure. But
anything special for the birthday? Any nice presents?
No, I actually spent the day, most of it on the aeroplane flying up to here, so that was special enough. But look at this battle with Dontis and Hansford now. It's heading up with only 2 laps to go. Ryan Hansford was quick on Friday in practice, and he has a bit of a look up the inside into turn 5, but Dontis is aware of that. Just goes a little bit defensive, but this is a good battle. We should point out too that the Hansford car, the number 6 Ford you're watching there, teammates with Chris Walton, so they come from Rod Dawson's team. Dontis locks it up. He's wide. Gray's wide. You can tell it's the run home because the mistakes are starting to just creep into the game. Elliot Barber's there, up the inside on Marjoram, who already had a couple of rubs. That left front tyre was rubbing for a couple of corners, but it seems to have cleared itself. Oh, actually, no. Right-handers it doesn't like, because there is a little bit of a rub from that front left guard. And Nudes Barber has been a big mover in this race. He has come from position 24 on the grid, currently in 13th. Tackling for 12th. He's using all the curb at turn 11, so this battle has been good. Jeremy Gray just probably got into the back of him coming onto the straight there, so final lap now. Kim Jane comfortably out in front, but this is the battle with Spudwood. We've got Jeremy Gray. He's got to run up the inside, but look at the run of the Holden. Just managing to pull away, so it's going to be on into turn 1. Oh, he's not going to give this one up. No, John Wood was out wide, and I thought he was not going to be involved in any of that. I was wrong. Now Madeki capitalises on that. He slips through on Barber, so I think Barber might have got a bit of a helping hand from Gray. We'll have to have a look at that if we get a chance, but yeah, certainly disappointing for Wood. He was out around the outside, but it's all about the last lap now, and I've got to say, Nudes, it's been a relatively clean race in terms of Ute standards. Well, compared to yesterday, because yesterday was off the charts. This has been a little more standard, but there's been enough for us to get excited about. This guy will be pumped. Former winner here at Hidden Valley. Hasn't won since Bathurst last year, Kim Jane. This will be his 13th career win in the V8 Ute Series. That's unlucky for some, but I reckon it's lucky 13 today. He's got away from the field, and he'll cruise it to the line. And Commodore fights back in the V8 Ute Series. It's been a Ford fest this year, but Holden get their 2nd race win of the season. Andrew Fisher, nice job. Smooth to 2nd, and Ryle Harris, that was really nice. Position 3, fighting back this weekend. There's Chris Walton. He crosses the line in 9th, and that just gets him in front of David Cedars and just buys him a point or so to keep his neck above the waterline in that series fight. Yeah, exactly right. So looks like David Cedars will have enough points to be on pole for the last race, but always an entertaining 2nd race here in Darwin with the V8 Utes. Let's have a look at the way that they finished, James, in race 2. As we mentioned, Kim Jane, he had that margin for pretty much the whole race. He set the fastest lap of the race as well. Aaron Borg has done a really nice job. He's been under the tutelage of Andrew Fisher, and he's finished position 7. Nathan Pretty just outside from Adam Marjoram. Tough weekend for George Madiki, finished in position 14. John Wood's car, that was crabbing across the line after that contact.